everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. So my name is Katie. If you're new, hi, and I'm going to be doing my introduction for my Pan Those Eyeshadows project for 2022. So I did this last year and I had a blast with it, so it was pretty much a no-brainer that I was going to be bringing it back for this year as well, albeit with a few tweaks to make this a little bit more manageable and align a little bit better with my panning goals. So before I get into the ground rules and drawing my new shadows for this year, I just wanted to give credit to this project to its creator, Alexi Shostan. I'll have all of her stuff linked down below if you want to check it out. She's been doing this for quite a few years. I don't know if she's doing it this year, but she definitely has a good amount of project to binge watch if you want to, and this project is pretty addictive, so you might find yourself doing that. So if you followed along on this project on my channel last year, I'm going to be keeping the same basic framework, but just tweaking it a little bit to work a little bit better with my goals for this year. Last year, this really was my focus project. It became apparent pretty early on that my Pan That palette was going to be pretty slow going. Certainly choices were made in the Pan That palette selection for last year. This year I've done a much better job at picking palettes that I really enjoy working on and reaching for often, so I would like to actually finish some shadows this year, so I'm going to be scaling this project down a little bit so that I can still participate in it, but I'm not spreading myself too thin. So having said all of that, I have some ground rules. I feel like these started off fairly simple and got a little bit more complicated as time goes on, so this year I decided that I'm going to scale down my number of shadows to 4. 5 is generally the standard. I did 5 last year, but I just feel like 4 is a little bit more manageable and less intimidating, and I've seen a lot of other people who've started up this project deciding to scale down to 4 as well, so I know I'm not alone on that. I'm also going to be scaling down my usage goal. So last year I did 30. That was definitely ambitious, and I had a few regrets about that fairly early on, but I really just wanted to stick it out. But I think 30, especially because I have a lot of palettes with really deep pans, I feel like 20 is going to be a lot more manageable, and then if I get something like a basic brown, I will be able to get my 20 uses on it in about a month with fairly few issues and be able to roll it out. Obviously, I do like to have at least one thing to roll out every single update, so I feel like that'll make that a little bit easier and just keep me from getting bored. I'm also not going to be working on any blacks or creams. I'm pretty sure I don't have any of those in my spreadsheet of eligible shadows, but just in case, you probably won't see any of those, and that's why. I think for right now, dark browns are still fair game, although I might, depending on if I get more than one dark matte, I might decide to re-roll just so that it's not like too much, but that remains to be seen. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, I guess. I'm also not going to be working on any duplicates, either within this project or with my Pan That palette. I don't think the duplicate thing will come into play too much, but I'm just going to put it out there. And I'm also going to be capping a couple of things. First of all, I'm going to be capping the number of shades that I can roll in from the same palette at 2. I did this last year because I acquired a 30 pan palette, and I realized that that could very, very quickly take over this project. The way I have my spreadsheet of eligible shadows set up is that I have every single shadow is assigned a number, and then I draw from there. I don't mind having multiples from the same palette in this project at a time. I feel like it helps to have shades that work well together, but I don't want this to become Pan That Stone Cold Fox, so I am going to be just basically capping this at 2, and then that should keep it manageable. Last but not least, I am also going to be just sort of instituting a cooling off period, so any new palettes that I buy, and I don't really think that I will be buying any at least for the first 6 months of the year, but if I do buy anything new, they won't be eligible to be rolled into this project for like a month or 2 after I pick them up, just so that I get a chance to get to know them and play around with them without necessarily trying to pan anything. I haven't really gotten a chance to use my Black Friday purchases because they got here right before I left for Christmas break, and they are still in my drawer at home, so I don't think that those will be eligible to roll in until like February or March, just depending on how things go. But anyways, I just wanted to put that out there. So that's all the housekeeping stuff that I have, so let's get into the fun part, which is drawing my shades. So before I get into that, I just want to say that I film on my phone, so I will just sit down and draw everything right before I sit down to film. Before I get into that, I just want to note that I have 3 out of my 4 shades on me. If you've been around for a bit, you probably know that this is not my normal background. I've kind of decided to take an extended Christmas break. My university has decided to move online. When I left for the holidays, it was only supposed to be the first 2 weeks of the year. Now it's been extended to the end of January, so I was not prepared for this. I figured I'd be back in my apartment by the time it came time for me to film this intro, but obviously I've decided to stay a little longer. I like being able to interact with other humans and touch grass sometimes, so I'm kind of going to be staying here until things settle down a little bit. So I'm not sure exactly what's happening. We'll kind of navigate this. If I still haven't used the shade and it looks like I'm going to be staying for the foreseeable future, I might decide to switch up how I draw things, but I wanted to have my entire collection eligible to start off the year, and we'll just sort of reassess how things go. Anyways, I hope that makes sense. I hope this isn't a cop-out. So that's sort of my like disclaimer about my color story for this month, but I do actually have 3 out of the 4 shades, so I do have definitely some things to work on. So I went ahead and I swatched everything out, and so this is what I'm working on, and I will use some editing magic to throw in like what the other shade that I'm working on is. So the first shade that I'm going to be working on is from my ABH Carli Bybel palette. This is the shade OA, and it's kind of like a blue-based purple with some multicolored glitters. I've had this palette since like I think March of last year, and I maybe used the shade 3 times, so I'm glad to have a little bit of a push to work on it, and I think this will be really fun to have in for this time of year anyway. This next shade is from my ABH Norvina palette. This is the shade Celestial, and it is a really pretty sort of violet color. Again, this is one that I always think I should use more and then I don't, so again, I'm glad to have that push. And then this is the shade Soul, also from the Norvina palette, and this I feel like works really well for this year specifically because Periwinkle is Pantone's color of the year. I think this will be great to sort of get in on that a little bit, so I am really excited to have these in, at least to work on for right now. And then my last shade is the shade Metal Moon from my Colourpop Stone Cold Fox. It's a very bright, intense metallic silver, such a gorgeous shade, and I did decide to leave it in just because I want to find ways that I like to use that one. I don't love it as an all over lid shade. Again, the light and bright thing, if you've been around you know, but I did want to have a little bit of a push to roll it in, and I figured it was perfect for this time of year, so I did decide to keep it in. If it had been something else, I honestly might have re-rolled, but anyways, so that is what I'm working on for this month. I feel like it's a really good cohesive color story, and I'm really looking forward to working on it. So in terms of goals for the next update, I'm thinking I might be able to hit pan on Celestial. Not entirely sure. It doesn't have a ton of use. I've used this a couple of times, but not a whole lot. So this one right here does have a little bit of a dip, but nothing too crazy, but these are fairly easy to pan. I have managed to pan some of these in like a month of focused use, so I'm thinking it is not outside of the realm of possibility, so this might be one of my focus shades. Again, really gorgeous shade. I think I'll have a lot of fun using it. Soul, I really don't have a ton of use on. It's funny because I bought this palette partially for Soul and then I've used Soul maybe 5 times, so I think panning this in a month is maybe pushing it, but I think I can definitely get a really good dip going on this and definitely have it looking more used by the next update. For OA, I think that is going to be in a similar situation to Soul. This is a little bit of a stiffer, firmer pressed shimmer formula. It's not as soft and flaky as some of ABH's shadows, so I don't know if I'll be able to pan this one in a month. I kind of doubt it, but I'm gonna try to just get some more use on it and get a little bit more of a focused dip going. Oh, I should show you what it looks like. It looks like this, so it is this one right here. So as you can see, it's this one right here, and as you can see, it has been used a little bit, but not a ton, and I don't know if this has sort of like hard pan on it. This might get softer as I break through the first layer, but we will just sort of see how this one goes. I'm just sort of happy to have it in and get a little bit of a push to use it a little bit more. Before I sign off, I'm just gonna really quickly go over my starting stats, my pan percentage. I don't have goals for pan percentage. It's mostly just something that I like to keep track of to make sure that I am, you know, using everything in my collection. So I started off 2021 with a pan percentage of 0. As of right now, I have it up to 14.2%, so I have 21 pans out of 147 total pans of eyeshadow. So if this goes well and I don't really buy any more palettes, I'm thinking this could probably be up to like, I don't know, 20-30% by the end of the year. We'll just kind of see how things go. So that is everything that I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still here, if you're doing this project, let me know down below how it's going, what shades you're working on. If you're doing this on YouTube, let me know. I'd love to follow along with yours. If you haven't already subscribed and you want to see more of my face, I upload new beauty videos roughly once a week or so, so feel free to subscribe if you're interested. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, and hopefully I will catch you in the next one. Bye!